Hey, this is James with Useful Knowledge. Well, we just made homemade plum jam with no pectin. Okay, this is what we're going to need for plum jam. You're going to need plums and you're going to need sugar. So what we're going to do first is we're going to cut up these plums and then we'll determine how much sugar we'll need. So initially we bought 4 pounds of plums at a local orchard, and that's what you see on the left hand side there. So we're going to cut these up, we're going to get the pit out, and then we're going to determine how much sugar we're going to need. Okay, what are we going to need for canning supplies? Well, you're going to need your jelly jars. And we're going to start off with 7 8-ounce mason jars. The recipe's probably going to make 6, but you always want to have one extra. I use a wooden spoon for when I'm stirring. You'll need a ladle for when you're filling up the jelly jars. A canning funnel. This little thing right here helps you pick up your lids out of the warm water. And you need lids and bands for each one of these jars. So go ahead and expect 7 lids and bands. Okay, I'm going to show you the easy way to pit all your plums. Now, my wife taught me this and she's been doing this her entire life. So you just cut in and then you just go around the pit just like that. So there's your pit, and you can get that little off the end if you want to, but you don't have to. And there's your plum. You just keep going until you get done. Okay, after 15 minutes of coring, this is what we got. It really didn't take that long. We did 4 pounds of plums. They were all in this basket. There they are. They're all pitted, ready to go. And there's our pits. So really not that hard to do. Okay, so we ended up with about 8 cups of pitted plums out of our 4 pounds that we got from the orchard. Okay, what we're going to do now is into our 8 cups of pitted plums, we're going to put 4 cups of sugar. Now I'm going to be asked, can I use less sugar? You can absolutely use less sugar, but I will tell you that you may end up with more of a sauce than actual jam because you may not get it to gel. Okay, our sugar and our plums are mixed up really well, and so we're going to let this sit for about an hour, and the sugar is going to draw that liquid out of the plums. So I'm just going to cover this up with a plate and let it sit for about an hour. Okay, our plums and sugar have been sitting here for about an hour, and you can see that the sugar's pulled a lot of juice out of the plums. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to measure up how much I have of this, okay, and then we're going to put it in our pot. Okay, based on the plums and sugar and juice that we just measured out, which came up to about 7 cups, we are going to put 7 8-ounce jelly jars in our oven, and we're going to turn them on to 250 degrees. Now these need to be in there for at least 15 minutes at 250 degrees. We're probably going to end up with 6 jelly jar fulls out of this, and that's simply because we haven't cooked it down yet. But just in case, always put 1 extra. So we're going to put 7 in at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, we measured out 7 cups total of plums and sugar, and we moved it over to my cook pot, and I'm going to turn this on to a medium low. So what we want to do is we want to heat these up slowly to get them to a boiling point. So we're going to start out at a medium low. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. We've had this on a medium low, and as you can see, it's just now starting to boil. So what we're going to do is we're going to stir this probably about maybe once every minute or so, because we want this to cook down slowly, but you don't have to stir it constantly. Okay, our plums and sugar have been simmering 20 minutes after we got them up to temperature. So as you can see, the plums have broken down really nicely. So what we want to do now, I want to go ahead and put 7 lids in a small pot of water. And we're going to turn that on to a low. We don't necessarily have to have that boiling. We just want it warm. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the plums up to a medium. Okay, so this has been cooking on a medium for about 5 minutes, and this is after I simmered it for 20. And this is really looking good. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and check it. So this is a cold plate. Now this plate was in the freezer just a minute ago, so this is how we're going to check this. So as you can see, that's not quite ready yet because it's still runny even after it cools down. So we're going to cook this for a few more minutes. Okay, we've been cooking for another 5 minutes. And I've got this on a medium, but as you can see, it's really almost got into a full boil because I really can't stir the boiling out of it. So let's try it again. And this is a cold plate. This is right out of the freezer. We'll see where we're at. That's looking really nice. Okay, so I think we're going to be ready to can this. We're going to go ahead and turn it off. We're going to get our jars out of the oven, and we're going to can this. If you got any skim in here, go ahead and get that off. As I'm getting the skim off, I'm going to remind you of where we're at now. So when I turned this on, it took it 15 minutes to get to a boiling point. Then I simmered it for 20 minutes just to break down the plums. Okay. And then it took about another 10 minutes of cooking at a medium to get to this point. And we're ready to can. Okay, all we're going to do at this point, we're going to put this hot plum jam into these hot jars. We're going to use a cannon funnel. I like to bring that right up to the bottom edge, a little bit over on my cannon funnel. Okay, that made a perfect 6 8-ounce jelly jars of plum jam. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to wipe the rims of each one of these jars with a wet paper towel. And that's just to ensure there's no jam that may have gotten on the rim there. And see, there's a little bit there. That would cause you to not get a good seal. Okay, next, what we're going to do now is we're going to take the lids. We're going to take them out of the water, dry them, and place them on our jar. I'm just drying them with a paper towel. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put our band on our jar. And these things are still very, very hot. And that's part of the open kettle canning method. You want to get the hot product into the hot jars, get the lids on quickly. So now I'm just going to tighten the lid down. We're going to turn them over. Each one of them we're going to turn over for 5 minutes. Okay, we'll give them 5 minutes and then we'll turn them back over. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. We're just going to turn these jars right side up, and as they cool down, they will seal. And we've got 6 8-ounce jelly jars. So we're going to check these in the morning to see how they sealed. Now as they seal, you will hear them ping. So in about 30 minutes from now, you're probably going to hear some pings as they seal. Okay, it's the next morning, and all of our jars are perfectly sealed. And I even got this guy right here sealing on video. Let's try this out. Okay, let's open the jar and see how it turns out. Oh, it looks good. Real good consistency. Hope you can see that. It's really nice and thick. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, it's just perfect. Okay, we hope you gained some useful knowledge on how easy it is to make your own homemade plum jam with no pectin. Thanks for watching.